let's talk about something that I think we've all felt, that little bit of panic when a listening comprehension test starts. Well, today we're going to dive into a powerful strategy that can totally change the game for you. If you've ever felt that anxiety, this one's for you. You know that feeling, right? The audio starts, people are talking what feels like a mile a minute, and you're just scrambling to catch every single word, all while knowing there's a tricky question waiting for you right at the end. It is a super high-pressure situation for pretty much anyone. And you know, the biggest reason for all that pressure, it's the simple fact that you only get one shot. That's it. There is no rewind button. No, can you say that again? You either catch the info the first time or you miss it. That's what makes these tests so incredibly challenging. But what if I told you there's a way to walk into that listening section with a huge advantage? A way to pretty much know what you're listening for before you even hear the first word. It's all about using the answer choices as your own personal cheat sheet. So here's the core idea. Most of these tests give you a few seconds, maybe 10 or 12, between questions. Now, instead of just sitting there waiting, you can use that precious time to scan the answers for the next question. These choices, as you can see here, are absolutely packed with clues about the topic and even the question itself. The whole strategy really just boils down to two simple steps. First, you're going to glance at the answers to predict the general topic. Are they talking about school, about work, maybe a movie? And second, you look at the way the answers are phrased to predict the kind of question they're going to ask you. Okay, that might sound a little abstract, so let's make it really, really concrete. We're going to walk through an example right from our source material to see exactly how this works in practice. Seriously, this is where the magic happens. Okay, so take a look at these 4 options on your screen. We've got at a shoe store, during chemistry class, after the lab period, and while she's eating lunch. What do all of these have in common? Go ahead, take a second and think about it. Did you get it? They all describe a time or a place that fits right into a student's daily schedule. So even before that audio starts playing, you can make a really strong prediction. The question is almost certainly going to start with when or where. See what that does? Instead of trying to listen for everything, you're now listening for just one specific thing, a time or a location. And that, my friends, is the power of this trick. So, you ready to try it yourself? Let's do it. I'm going to show you a couple more sets of answers, and I want you to try and predict both the topic and the question. It's your turn. All right, here's our first set. The choices are, she enjoyed it very much, she thought it was too long, she liked it more than the movie reviewer did, and she found it confusing. What do you notice here? They're all about someone's opinion, right? So pause for a second and really think about it. Look at those key words: enjoyed, too long, liked, confusing. What are those words telling you about the topic? What question are they all trying to answer? Here's a little hint. Think about how you'd describe a movie you just walked out of. If you guessed that the topic is someone's opinion, you are exactly right. All of these answers describe how a person felt about some kind of experience. Probably a movie, maybe a play. So the question will be something like, what did the woman think of the film? You're not listening for a fact, you're listening for a feeling. Nicely done. Fantastic. Okay, let's try one more. The answer choices this time are a little different. We've got a tuition increase, a policy change, a new class, and a recent proposal. Pay close attention to the language here. So what's really interesting here is how different the language is, isn't it? These aren't feelings or personal opinions. Notice how formal, how academic these phrases sound. What kind of conversation would use phrases like these? What's the common thread that connects them all? Well, these are all formal topics you might hear about at an institution, like a university. Words like policy, proposal, tuition increase, they all tell you the speakers are probably discussing some kind of plan or a new rule. So the question is most likely going to be, what are the speakers discussing? Let's just put them side by side for a second so you can really see it. On the left, you've got the language of opinion. It's emotional, descriptive words like enjoyed and confusing. Then on the right, you have the language of a proposal. It's formal, noun-based phrases like tuition and policy. Once you start recognizing these patterns, you can instantly tune your brain to listen for exactly the right kind of information. So what you've just learned is basically how to turn those few seconds of dead air into your most powerful tool. You're no longer just a passive listener, waiting to get hit with a question. No way. You are now an active detective, gathering clues and anticipating what's coming next. You're literally turning that anxiety into a real advantage. You are taking control of the test. Okay, let's just do a quick recap of the key takeaways. First, you've got to use that pause between questions wisely. Second, scan those answer choices immediately. Third, use those clues to predict the topic and the question type. And finally, that means you can listen with a very specific purpose in mind. Simple as that. And I want to leave you with a final thought because this skill goes way beyond just passing a test. Think about it. A job interview, a big business meeting, even just a casual conversation. Where else can reading the room and anticipating the next question give you a massive edge? What about in a negotiation or when you're trying to convince somebody of something? The possibilities are really endless.